Hi, welcome to Diving into Deep Waters. I am your host, Erin Rowling, and it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. We've had times where it's been a hot minute, but let's just be real. This has been more than a hot minute. I don't know. So I was like, okay, it's been a while. So where do we start? How do we hop back into... Do I know how to do this? I don't know. I actually had butterflies just coming. I was so excited. I have chills right now. I'm just so excited to be back. And just, sometimes when you're away from something, sometimes you think, when you do something all the time, you think, oh, is this really I don't know, you question it or whatever. But then when you're away from it for a little while and then you think to yourself, yeah, this is something that I love. I'm so excited. So I just need to get that out of there. But so where do we go? What podcast do we do? And I was like, well, first of all, I think we just need to catch up because you've had a lot of life happen. I've had a lot of life happen. And if there's one thing I've learned through the experience of life is those experiences, those things that we go through, it kind of gives us opportunities to learn. That's what this whole podcast is. If you haven't listened to Diving into Deep Waters, it's just life that happens. What can we learn from it? It sometimes comes from something I read in the Bible or maybe a clip that I saw or a poem, or I'm not a huge poem person. I take that one back. I think I've done one. I don't know. It's not really my thing. I don't really get poems. We're not going to get sidetracked by poems. But anyways, but good things happen, bad things happen. What do we learn? How do we grow? And so I'm just going to encourage you today, grab your favorite beverage. If it's a cup of coffee, if it's a hot tea, if it's a whatever, no energy drinks. We don't like those. No, I'm just kidding. We don't like those. Don't grab one of those. Let that be one of your New Year's resolutions. No energy drinks. But yeah, let's just catch up for a second. Already my throat is acting weird. Why? I've literally not coughed all day. And then I come and sit down. It's kind of like a nervous cough, maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to start with a funny story first. Because this happened. And I actually happened. And my husband said, I know this is going to make the podcast. And I thought, you are correct. Now, to the guys listening, you may side with my husband in this. To the girls listening, I think you're going to side with me. I need a drink of water. Thankfully, I have this is my new cup. If you're not watching, you can't see it. But I was going to ask for this for Christmas, and I bought it for myself for my birthday because it was on sale, y'all. And I was like, we need a new one, and we're going to get one. Okay, so this could be an opportunity for you guys to learn something, though. So don't tune out. Or you're going to go up to my husband and say, I totally side with you. I totally understand what you're saying. So my birthday was in December, which it's my last birthday in my 40s. I'm going to be heading to the 50s this year, which is crazy. To some of you, you're like, that is so young. You get one of two responses. That is so young. Or some people are like, that is so old. It depends what age you are. Is how you're going to feel about it. But I needed some of that Sudafed, and you feel like you're buying drugs when you buy Sudafed because you have to go to the counter and get it from behind the counter. That's how you feel. You feel like you're buying something illegal. And that's just kind of I don't know why. And she was like, do you want 12 hour? Do you want 24 hour? Do you want this? Do you want that? And they kind of whisper it a little bit. So that's what makes you feel like you're buying something illegal. So I told her what I wanted, and you have to show your license. You can't just buy it anymore. And so I grab my license and I give it to her, and she scans it. And then she looks at me and she says, oh, honey. And she whispers this, oh, honey, your license is expired. And I was like, literally, it popped into my head 3 months ago. I got some paper in the mail saying that I needed to renew my license. It's one of those things you see it and you think, okay, I need to do that, but then you don't do it. And you all know I'm a procrastinator anyways. So I just thought, I'll do it. I'll get to it. I did not. I completely forgot about it. And so I was like, oh, my birthday was yesterday. I'm supposed to renew my license, whatever. And she's like, and she was so sweet. She was like kind of crotchety at first, but then she just got so sweet with me. And she was like, I've had people that their license expired like 6 months ago. So for it just to be one day is not really a big deal. She's like, and I've had people like take a photocopy of their license and then show me the photocopy and it's like 2 or 3 years old and expect me to use that or whatever. So she was super nice, but she made it a less embarrassing experience. So I'm like, oh, okay, now I need to go do my license. And here's the thing. I'm in Sandusky, which is where the DMV is. But of course, where does my thought go to? I'm like, do I need to get a picture with my license or is this just a renewal? But I'm afraid I need a picture because I have to go in and get it done. So I call my husband and I'm like, can you find that piece of paper that you gave me? Does it say I need to get a picture taken? So he finds it. He's like, it doesn't say or whatever. And I'm like, here's the problem. my hair is not done. I had makeup on because we're actually going out that night, but I had not done my hair yet because I was going grocery shopping and I get hot when I go grocery shopping. I don't know why, but it stresses me out. I don't know if it's the lights. I don't know what it is. If anybody else that happens to, and when I check out, I literally start sweating. I'm like unzipping my coat, taking it off as I'm checking out. Does that make sense? That's just what happens. So I'm like, no, I just put my hair in a top knot, whatever. And Paul's like, well, just go renew it. Like you're right there. And I'm like, but my hair's not done. If I need a picture, my hair is not done. And he says, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. You are right there. Your license is expired. You need to go get it done. And this is when I said to him, you have been married to me for 28 years. You should know that this is a big deal. Not having your hair done for your license photo, something you have for I don't even know how long. The last time I had a picture taken, my hair was red. That was a while ago, you guys. So we're having this exchange of like him thinking he's like, you need to go. And I'm like, I will go back another day. And he's like, just go and see. Just see what happens. Like maybe you just need to sign a paper or something like that. So I'm like, okay. So I go in. First off, the lady is bland. I know that is probably not a nice thing to say about someone, but she was so bland. Like just straight faced, like she hated her job. She would rather be anywhere else than where she was, whatever. And so I'm already stressing out inside. And she's like, well, I need to check your eyes. And I'm like, that's kind of stressed me out too, because my eyes are getting bad. You guys, we've talked about this. They're not great. So, but I passed. I passed the test and I didn't even lie. Some people tell me they lie in it. I did not lie. So I did that. And then she says, okay, you just need to sign this thing. And the relief that washed over me about not taking a picture. So I me and my talkative mouth, proceed to tell her the whole story about how I felt, that I didn't want to come because my hair wasn't done and blah, 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 blah. And she looks at me straight face and says, no, you need a picture. I was like, she's like, can you walk over there, please? Nothing. No sympathy, no regard for my plight of absolute horror. Nothing. She's a woman and she gave me nothing. And so I had to walk over there and take a picture with my hair up in a top knot. Like I even tried in the car to take it down and it was past its prime. Let's just say that. And so I did. I took it. It looked terrible. Absolutely terrible. I get in the car and I call Paul and I'm like, I had to take a picture. And Abby's now in the car with them. And she's like the best. She says, Mom, I'm so sorry. And Paul's like, I don't know what the big deal is. Nobody ever sees your license. And Abby's like, no, this is terrible. Mom, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, see, Abby totally gets it. Yeah, I got it in the mail. My kids laughed at it, which tells me that it's bad. And I just think that if I should get pulled over, I'm just going to say I don't have a license because I don't want anyone to see that picture. That's how bad it is. Yeah, I know it sounds terrible. I'll get a ticket. My husband's like, no, you won't. You'll show your license. I don't know. I'm going to I'm going to figure out how I get a new one because I'm not having that for the next however many years that it requires me to have it. So anyways, the men in this story are listening to the story probably like, what's the big deal? But all the ladies, I think you get it, except for the lady at the DMV who was like bland. I don't know what her problem is. Somebody needed to give her a hug or something like that. Anyways, so that's my story that I've been waiting to share with you guys. It's been like forever. And but now here we are in a new year, 2026. I still laugh because I remember back to the year 2000 when we thought we were all going to die. And here we are, 2026, still going. Our family's gone through a lot. This year has not quite turned out how we planned in any sense of the word. And some of you are probably like, why are you talking about a new year? We're already in the middle of January. Well, for our family, I feel like the new year has just started for us. And as I was thinking about it, I thought, this year has not gone according to plan in any sense of the word. And chances are this year has not turned out maybe the way that you have thought it was going to either. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about when things don't go as planned. And in order to get the full scope of the story, I feel like I have to kind of go back. Now, some people from our church have heard some of this story, but a lot of you are not from our church. So I'm still going to share it. And to go back a little bit, we kind of have to go back to Thanksgiving. Yes, I said Thanksgiving because that's kind of when things started to go a little crazy in our lives. We were excited because all of our kids were coming home and we didn't have Thanksgiving on the podcast. So like I said, we have a lot to catch up with. And Amanda and Frank and Audrey and Joseph are coming early. Liz, the job that she has a new job now. Praise Jesus. She had to work at night. And so she had to work Thanksgiving night. So we were like, and this is the thing, when your kids get older, you can change things and they don't care. And we're all like, we want to be together as a family. So let's just do Thanksgiving on Friday instead of Thursday. We don't do that like Black Friday shopping anymore, like the whole get in the car and go everywhere, because no one does that anymore. It's just not a thing anymore. I mean, maybe you do, but everything's far from us, so it's just too much. We like to stay in our jammies. So I'm like, let's just do Thanksgiving on Friday. No big deal. And so on Wednesday, though, we're preparing our food, getting everything ready, because I like to do a lot of prep ahead of time. So on Thanksgiving, I'm not exhausted. So I'm like, I got an extra day of prep. That actually was really nice. Not going to lie. Maybe we'll just start doing it on Fridays. But anyways, so I'm prepping and all of a sudden we hear this beeping sound, and Frank and I are investigating what's going on, especially because Audrey was taking a nap and Amanda might have been find out what that is, because if it wakes up my kid, you're all in trouble. So we're investigating. We're trying to find out. It leads us downstairs and Frank is ahead of me and he goes to the boiler room and where our hot water heater is, our furnaces and everything. And he like opens the doors and literally like hot steam pours out of there. And there's hot water spurting all over the place. And like the floor is all wet. And basically our hot water heater was spurting water so it wouldn't combust. So we're like, oh, great. So we turn it off. We have someone come check it out. Of course, it needs a part. And of course, it's the holidays. So of course, you're not going to get it right now. And it was one of those things, not expected, couldn't predict that happening. But I just felt like when I look back on that situation, it's one of those moments where you're kind of faced with two choices. You freak out, you're angry, you're upset, it ruins your day basically, or you kind of find the humor in it. You kind of find gratefulness. Like, where can you find gratefulness in the midst of this situation? And here's the thing, it was Thanksgiving, so we have a lot to be thankful for. Yes, this isn't what we planned, but we were like, okay, we're thankful it didn't combust, because it definitely could have. And what would that have looked like if that would have happened? Then Paul remembers that our neighbors are out of town and they are always like, use our house if you need it. And so we use their shower, and their shower is way nicer than our shower. It was kind of like a little spa getaway. Like, you got to go over there, and it was very nice actually. And then we remembered that we have 2 hot water heaters, and the one in the laundry room like was still working. So we cleaned out the utility sink, and we're like, I scrubbed it down and bleached it and everything. We're like, this is now where we're going to be hand washing dishes, which I have to say, I hate hand washing dishes. I'm such a stickler about silverware and glasses. I don't know. Those are the things that your mouth goes on. Sickness is everywhere all the time. It's just one of those things. But again, hey, we could have to drag all of our dishes over to our neighbors and wash all of our dishes there, and we don't have to. And so we got through that. Okay. Like, we found the places of thankfulness. We got through it. We had a great Thanksgiving. We decided to go see Paul's dad. And actually the next day we were going to do family pictures. We had all of our outfits ready. I'm like, Christmas card done. I can check it off the list. I'm ahead of schedule. Look at me being ahead of schedule. Look at me not being a procrastinator and everything. We go to see Paul's dad. We play bingo with him, which is just so fun to play bingo. It's just, our whole family loves it. It was great. And we all got, I think all of us, or most of us got bingo, which was lots of fun, which Paul's dad was very proud of it, that we all got bingo. And we get home that night, and we kind of figured out we could use a hot water heater in like small increments. So we could wash a few dishes upstairs if we were careful. And Paul was like, kept checking the hot water heater to make sure it wasn't like overheating and going to combust and stuff as we were waiting for the part. Now, my husband says, I'm going to go check it, which he'd been doing. And I hear him say, hey, can you come down here? And I think I smell gas. Now, we've been married for 28 years. And in the 28 years that we've been married, I cannot count, it's more than my fingers, the amount of times my husband has said to me, do you smell gas? And I think maybe once, of all the times, I don't even know if it's been once, that I've never smelled gas, ever. And so when he said that, I may have rolled my eyes a little bit. Like, okay, it's just I don't know why he thinks he smells gas all the time. And so I'm like, I'll just go down there, I'm going to go check it. And sure enough, I get down there and gas hits me in the face. I mean, it is strong, which I had to immediately repent that I had, and made me super thankful that that little annoying thing that he has about gas really came into play and really saved our family's life at the end of the day. So we call somebody at 8:30 at night. Again, an unexpected thing. And we have two choices. How do we roll with it? And Paul's like, you know what? The guy lives in town. We know him. He called him. He came over at 8:30 at night. And he's like, guys, I got to turn your furnace off because this is bad. Of course, my first thought is Audrey's downstairs. Is she okay? Because, everyone else is adults, but she's, a little 15-pound person. And he's like, she's absolutely fine. No problem. And so we have to turn it off. We're not going to have heat at night. But again, where do we find those pockets of thankfulness? Where do we find those moments of like, okay, where's the humor in it? Where's the blessing in it? Where's our gratitude? And it was like the room she stays in is kind of cooler. So we actually keep a little heater in there, and just to keep it like it turns off when it gets to a certain temperature kind of thing. And I'm like, she's warm. Audrey's going to be warm. She's great. We're all adults. We can bundle up. It's not a big deal. And so woke up the next morning, no family pictures. So no Christmas cards. If you're like, we didn't get a Christmas card from the Rollings. Well, because we didn't get one taken. And even on Thanksgiving, I thought, let's just take a picture because I thought, no, we're going to do family pictures. It's fine. It's okay. It was another... Sometimes those things are good lessons for us to let go of things that we think need to be done. And in the bigger picture, they're really not the biggest thing. And so I did have to release that a little bit. That one took me a little bit more, I'll be honest. But when I looked at the whole weekend, I thought this has given our family just opportunity to face things and to figure out how we're going to face them. And Paul, he even told our kids, he said, you guys have handled this so well. Like, no one got upset. No one got irritated. No one got overwhelmed with it. We just kind of rolled with it. And I was super proud of us as a family. Like, there's a lot of us. There's 8 of us in one house. These are helpful things to have. And actually, the heat going out made us get on the road to all of our destinations, and a huge storm came in, and we were all where we needed to be, safe and sound and secure. And it was an eventful Thanksgiving. And then we're kind of going to go into Christmas, because if Thanksgiving wasn't eventful, like, Christmas kind of makes Thanksgiving look like not a whole lot. We were a little bummed because we had to share. As your families change and morph into different things, it's hard. It's hard to share. And I know, like, even when they're with us, it's hard for Frank's family to share. And I think we were all bummed. We all kind of went into Christmas a little bit bummed that we weren't all going to be together, especially Audrey's in the picture now. And I had a moment on Christmas, and I forgot about this till right now, but I had a moment on Christmas where I felt like the Holy Spirit just kind of nudged my spirit and just said, be grateful for what this is. Even this isn't your whole family together. This is going to change. What you're experiencing right now is going to change. And so live in the moment, live in this space, and be grateful and thankful for this space. And it really did turn my attitude and my perspective around, because sometimes we do want the whole package, but sometimes we don't get the whole package. But what we need to remember in that moment and in that space, that package can change again. And just being thankful. My husband is super good about that, about just being whatever season it is. He just rides with it. He's good with it. He's ready for the next season. I don't know if that's a guy thing versus a girl thing, or I don't know, but it's a little harder for me to move into the next season. But I just felt like the Lord whispered that to my heart, like, just be thankful for what you're getting to experience right now, because this is going to change too. So I'm just throwing that in there because I totally forgot about that. So the kids did come for New Year's, and they came a little bit early. And so we celebrated Christmas. It was great. We all had our matching pajamas, and Audrey had her little PJs, and it was just so special, so wonderful. It was amazing, and filled our tank. And I wanted the kids to go see Paul's dad because whenever they're home, I always have this sense of like urgency for them to see him. Like whatever we need to do to all go is super important, just because I don't know. I feel like life, lived enough of it to know it can change at any time. And I don't want to have a regret that we didn't take the time to go see him or spend time with him. And so we went. Honestly, he was a picture of health. Like, he looks so good. He remembered everyone's name, which is no small feat lately for him. Audrey sat on his bed. He had this Christmas card that played Christmas carols, and it reminded the kids of like grandma used to have this little snowmen that played Christmas carols, and they would play them and stuff. And he got a kick out of that. We delivered his family calendar, which I was a little behind on getting to him, but I was like, I'll take it. The kids we can look at it with grandpa and see all of the pictures and stuff with him, which is I think it's his most favorite gift. He kept asking Paul, so when do I get my calendar? Am I going to get my calendar? Did Aaron make my calendar? And I've been making them for him, for all the grandparents. I don't even know when I started, probably when the girls were pretty little. And so it's just kind of morphed into this thing that we do on Christmas. And so much so where my kids now are like, we don't live at home anymore. Do we get a calendar? So they all got their calendars. And so it was super special to do that. And he was like, New Year's is coming on Friday. So Paul, you got to come and put my calendar up for me and everything. We got a picture of him with the kids and Audrey. She's sticking her tongue out. He looked great. And so that was wonderful. We went home, and for New Year's Eve, we decided we're going to play cards at home. We have a card game that we love, it's just our thing. It's what we do. And so we start our game, and shortly after we start our game, Paul gets a call from Stonegate, which is where his dad lives. Now, the number of times that we get a call from Stonegate is a lot. I mean, they tell us all the time, we're shipping your dad to the hospital. Your dad's wound is infected. He's kind of being loopy. We've got some really interesting voicemails from Paul's dad of him thinking he's at a Tigers game, or him thinking that he's at a swimming pool or whatever, because like he has an infection, which happens when you get older. It messes with your mind and stuff. So it's just normal thing that we're used to. I was like, he'll take the call, we'll follow up with what's happening. Everything's okay. And my husband walks out of the room, and he just looks in disbelief. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong? And he goes, my dad coded. And I'm like, I felt like he's going to say, my dad coded, but he came back, like kind of thing, because Paul's dad resurrects. Like, I can't tell you the number of times that he should not have stayed alive, and he resurrects like all the time. And so he's like, yeah, my dad is unresponsive and everything, and they're trying to get his heartbeat back. And so Paul and I jump in the car. We were driving to Sandusky. On the way, they call us and say, we got his heartbeat back. And I was like, of course you did. But then I'm like, how long was that? I feel like that was over 20 minutes that they didn't have a heartbeat. So that's concerning. But if anybody can do it, it's Paul's dad. Like, he's going to be fine. So we get there. They loaded him into the ambulance. We go inside to find out from the caregivers, like, what happened, what is going on. And they're like crying, and they're like, he wasn't feeling well. They thought maybe he had the flu. And so they went in to give him his medicine. He was kind of gurgling, not taking it well. And she's like, I thought we're going to send him to the hospital to make sure everything's okay. She went to make a call for that ambulance to come, came back, and he was gone. He had coded. And so we're like, and then they're like telling us how much they love him, how much it's just a blessing and so kind, how much he loves Jesus and all of this stuff. And it's just like feels very surreal in the moment. Like you should be bawling, but you just like don't even know what emotion you're having in the moment. Cause I'm like, they're crying and we're not crying. What's wrong with us? But I'm like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He's always fine. There's no way he's not going to be fine. And there's a few details that I'm not going to share about this because I've asked Paul to come be on my podcast and to share about his dad. And some of those details I want him to share because they're pretty special. But moving on, we get back in the car. We're parked directly behind the ambulance, and they have like the respirator, whatever they're doing, the pump. You can see they're breathing for him. And then all of a sudden I see both paramedics jump up because you can see everything through the windows. And they're like doing CPR on him, which it's one of those moments. We're on the phone with our kids. We're on the phone with Paul's sister and brother-in-law. And it's like that moment, you should look away. You shouldn't watch this, but you can't not watch it because Amanda was like, don't watch, Mom. And I was like, I cannot tear my eyes away from what is happening. I've never seen someone in real life give CPR. There's a reason why they don't let people watch that. It is so brutal and traumatic. I literally was at the point of like jumping out of the car and pulling open the doors of the EMS and saying, stop hurting him. Because that's just how it felt. Obviously, they're trying to save his life. But it's one of the most traumatic things. Never watch that. It's absolutely horrible and something I wish I never saw. And so then the EMS guy comes to our car and he's like, we're going to call it. He's gone. And we lose it. All of us. Everyone on the phone, Paul and I lose it. And literally in a few seconds later, the guy comes back to the car and he goes, he's back. Your dad's a fighter. He's back. And I'm like, of course he is, because this is how it goes. And so we go to the hospital, which again, the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. No matter what job you have, it's an important job. When you're dealing with people, it's such an important job. And we walk into the emergency room and the front desk lady, Paul tells her, my dad is like being resuscitated. Like, I don't know what's happening. And that lady didn't even tear her eyes from her computer for 1 second to look us in the face, to whatever. I was so upset with her. I just wanted to say to her, do you want to look at us? Do you understand what is happening in our life right now? Like, we don't know. We don't know what's happening. We're terrified. We're beside ourselves. And like, you can't even look up and make eye contact with us. She just typing, okay, all right. Just wait over there. If that's your job, don't do it like that. Don't do it like that. I don't know who she was or anything like that, but I've never met someone at an ER who was so dismissive. Anyways, so the doctor comes out and he's just like, listen, we've been working on him for over an hour. If it was my dad, I would kind of like cease. Of course, that wasn't a decision we could just make on our own. We needed to involve Paul's sister. And I was like, listen, if dad has a way of resurrecting, if he is meant to live when they stop, his heart will continue. We will know. And if not, then we know that we need to let him go. And so we all agreed on that. We went back. I will say the doctor was fantastic. The nurse that was in the room with us, walking us through them, unhooking him to everything, just kind of walking us through the process as a family. We had a beautiful moment of prayer. Everyone's on the phone, except for my daughter Elizabeth was not on the phone, and everyone's saying goodbye. And I'm like, as a mom, I'm like, she needs to say goodbye. She is the only person in our family not on the phone, and we need her on the phone. Everyone's trying to call her. She's working. And so we're like, I know she saw the phone calls on her watch probably. It's like, why are my siblings calling me? Finally, I don't remember. Amanda says, Jesus, please let her answer the phone. She answers the phone. And she's like, what? And Amanda's like, you need to say goodbye to Grandpa right now. Which, poor thing. It's just like, so she's annoyed, but yet is told her grandpa is dying. And so, I don't know. It was probably one of the most surreal moments of my life. I wasn't with my mom when she passed. I missed when my mother-in-law passed, just like by an hour. And so being there with Paul in that moment, and it was just like, this man he was gone within 10 minutes. It was like this man who's had like 100 lives is actually gone. Like Paul and I just looked at each other and we're like, he's actually gone. Like and then it was just like, it's New Year's Eve. This is not how we planned. We did not plan going into the new year without his dad. And I'm going to save some of the other details for later, like I said. But to be honest, it's taken me till the middle of January to know what way is up and down and all around and what is happening in our lives. And I definitely know that it didn't start the way that I thought it was going to start. And it's been very much out of our control. All of these events have been completely and totally out of our control. And when I was thinking about this podcast, I was thinking maybe there's events in your life that too have been completely out of your control. Maybe it has nothing to do with the new year. It's just the situation you're experiencing or something that you're walking through right now. And I just want to say it's okay if that is it, if that is you. And everything is out of control. And you don't know you're like, good for you, you know which way is up, because I don't. I'm in the space of I don't know which way is up. I want you to take a deep breath. Something we're going to start off with, we're doing our Sensible Shoes book 2. And something we're going to start off with is taking a deep breath. It's something that I've just been learning to do with God. It's just like take an inhale, take an exhale, and just... We cannot have control over what's happening, but we can choose how to navigate that out of control state. That is the part we get to do. And how do we do that? I would tell you in the past, if all of these things would have hit me, let's say this was 2024 going into 2025, I do not think that I would have handled it or approached it or been able to walk through all of that the way that we did. Personally, I don't think I could have. And I don't credit myself for that in any way, shape, or form. I can only thank the Lord because I know that He is the one who enabled us and has grown that in myself personally. I started something last year, and I kind of have talked about this, where I started to write down things that I was grateful for. After I read my Bible, the next thing that I do is I start to write down the things that I'm grateful for. And it's from like itty bitty, silly things to the bigger things that are happening in my life. And I think that has played a huge role in when my life has felt out of control, navigating it differently than I did in the past, and navigating it with calmness and peace and just a sense of like, okay, this is okay. This is going to be okay. There's just when we allow God to grow that in us, when we take the time to go into that space of thankfulness and gratitude, it changes not the circumstances, but it changes how we navigate those circumstances. Paul's dad's passing is hard. If I think too much about it, I'm going to start crying, and I just done a lot of crying and I don't want to. But here's my gratefulness in it. All of my kids got to see him. All of my granddaughter got to see him. They all made it on the phone to say goodbye to him. Not one missed that opportunity. My last words to my dad, he was my dad, was, I love you. Here it goes. I got to see the joy in his face of him being surrounded by his family. That is my last picture of him. I saw some other stuff that I didn't want to see, but the joy of that picture, that mental picture will forever be with me. And those were God things. God set up those little moments that we would have despite things that were out of our control. This year, if it hasn't already, is more than likely going to bring things that you do not see coming. But I'm going to ask you, in the midst of that, will you be prepared? Are you prepared for that? And ask yourself that hard question. When things come my way, or maybe the circumstance you currently are in, are you prepared for that? Are you ready for that? You can't just assume that you're going to get into a situation and you're going to be able to deal with it. You have to prepare for that. That takes practice of gratitude and thankfulness. If you don't practice that, you will not have it in the circumstance. You will go down road 2 where you are angry and confused and upset and bewildered, and whatever emotion that is not calm will come out of you. It comes out of a place of practice. And I encourage you, grab a notebook today. Don't start on Monday. Don't start next week. Start today. Today is Friday that you're probably listening to this podcast. Get a notebook, grab a scrap of paper in the morning on Saturday and write your gratitudes. Begin today. Do 1. You don't have, I do 3. Sometimes I do 5. Sometimes I do 1 really long one. If it's 1 sentence, find 1 thing and begin to massage that into your spirit and let that be a part of your life. So when the things that come out of control happen, you're prepared. You're ready. So that when you do pass through those waters, when you pass through rivers, and when you walk through fire, you know that He is with you. They will not sweep over you, and you will not be burned. The flame will not set you ablaze. Isaiah 43:2. It won't. It won't. It's a coming if it hasn't already come. Are you prepared for it? And if you're not, let's prepare. And if you have been, continue it. Continue to grow in that. So you're ready. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. My heart is just filled with joy to be back. And I am so excited to see what God has in store for us this year, the things we're going to learn, the ways that we're going to grow, because we've all grown. We're different than we were last year. And how beautiful is that the Lord is doing those things in our lives. So here's to 2026. I love you, and I'm excited to be back with you.